Hello, Sun Devil fans. Brad Denny with 3TV CBS 5 and the Speak of the Devils podcast here, coming at you right after ASU wrapped up the third practice of fall camp. And it was a morning that was obviously very hot, probably the hottest so far of fall camp, but also a very newsworthy morning as our beloved Sun Devil Stadium is getting a new name, Mountain America Stadium. It's part of a new licensing naming rights agreement with Mountain America Credit Union. I know I've seen a lot of fans out there on social media have some thoughts on that. We'll probably go a little bit more in depth on that during our first ever Speak of the Devils live show on Friday at the Graduate Hotel at 6 to 8 p.m. Joe and I will have thoughts on the matter, but it will be definitely a good night and good time for anyone in the Tempe area on Friday night. All right, so let's get to what happened on this third practice. It was the first practice of the fall in shells. So the players were out there in shoulder pads and helmets after the first 2 days of just helmets only. And so that was one thing that really kind of jumped out immediately. The physicality obviously ramped up. And that was one thing that Kenny Dillingham said struck him immediately, that this was the best practice so far. He was kind of had a little hit and miss and not exactly overwhelmed positively about the first couple of practices, but really liked what he saw so far today. Obviously, the physicality was ramping up, and so it was good. Starting off in kind of the team tempo sessions, Trenton Bourget got the first series of both tempo and later on in the full team sessions after he was the first one out there. And the first practice yesterday was Drew Pine. Had some good strikes out there, but ultimately kind of this was another day dominated by the defense. The defensive front especially really getting after it. The front four starting to solidify with B.J. Green and Clayton Smith at the end spots and Anthony Cooper and Deshaun Mallory in the middle. Sam Benjamin, C.J. Fight doing some good things, as well as Tristan Monday kind of in some rotational roles on the inside as well. Garrett Stansbury had a pretty good day, as well as junior college transfer edge Elijah O'Neal. So it was really good to see them continue to really make lives miserable as they did all spring. I mean, it's really kind of night and day is the Sun Devil defense from last season to what we've seen so far in spring and early fall camp in terms of just the aggressiveness that is really starting to show and bringing the fight to the offense. And then for a lot of the practice, there was a lot of individual work going on, some special teams work. And one thing that kind of jumped out to me was when I was over watching the linebackers under A.J. Cooper. Kenny Dillingham, as he does, kind of makes his way around during the individual sessions and all the different position groups. True freshman linebacker Kavion Thunderbird they're going through a drill, and there were some things that he was doing wrong with his technique, but the coaches, Cooper and Dillingham, but Cooper especially, really took the time to just make sure that this was a teaching moment and had him go through it a couple times, and by the end you saw noticeable improvement, just a matter of maybe a couple minutes of going through this. So it's good to see, just something that this is a coaching staff that continues to really put a focus on and a premium on teaching and taking the time and not just blowing up at a player. And that's one thing that's really I've heard a lot from these the players on, especially the linebackers, about A.J. Cooper in particular, is just how good of a teacher and mentor he is. So that'll be interesting to see as this group of linebackers continues to progress through camp and as they get ready for the season. So then after the individual sessions and some special teams work, the team went to the team sessions, and Trenton Bourget got the first start. Just a lot of stuff that was kind of just quick underneath. The offense really did not get anywhere as the defense continued to kind of smother stuff. Garrett Stansbury in particular had a nice play where he kind of was able to get into the backfield and swat down a Drew Pine pass. Then it was time for the inside run. It was always good when the pads come back on to see the inside run. It's a really good physical drill, and the defense kind of overall got the better of the offense, and the front of the Sun Devil defense continued to excel. And B.J. Green, not just a pass rushing menace. He had some great penetration, got in the backfield really quickly on a number of plays there. Anthony Cooper had some really good plays in the interior. He is making the move from defensive end to the inside and has done some really some good things so far. James Jonkum and Will Schaefer had some good plays and penetration run fits from the linebacker spot. However, there was some good stuff from the offense. Tight end Ryan Morgan got a lot of props from Jason Mons, the tight ends coach, for his blocking there. Kyson Brown, who you'll hear from in just a couple of minutes, the true freshman running back out of Texas, had a nice burst through the hole, was able to show off that impressive speed for a long touchdown run. DeCarlos Brooks as well had another touchdown run with the starting offensive line in there, and really did some good things, and made a cut to the left and cut back inside. Was able to go the distance for a touchdown. But overall, the defense seemed to get the better of the offense on that day, and then was on to 7-on-7s. Trenton Bourget just kind of stayed underneath, made some smart decisions. There's a lot of good coverage, and we'll talk about the defenders in a second. Drew Pine had a pretty good practice, and this is something that we talked about in the first fall camp quick hit episode. After an up and down spring, he's starting to show some more consistent play. Still some times where it looks like he might be thinking a little bit too much or a little bit slow in the process. But he had a good deep connection to the left side on his first pass to Jake Smith, and then kind of overthrew a swing pass on the next play. But overall, I thought it did pretty well. Connected with Jalen Conyers, who kind of mossed his defender there. Jaden Rashada, the true freshman quarterback, had some good moments. Ed Woods, the ASU cornerback, made some really good, impressive plays in coverage with Jaden throwing the ball. But Jaden did connect with Andre Johnson, the veteran wide receiver, for a long touchdown. The arm talent of Jaden Rashada fully on display. Beautiful downfield strike. Johnson was able to split the defense between Shamari Simmons and Jordan Clark, go for about 60, 70-yard touchdown there. And then things rounded off in a 11-on-11 team session. Trenton Bourget kind of got things going a little bit. Again, feeling the pressure as all the quarterbacks did. D Ford, the transfer corner from Austin P, had a good punch out on one. Nice little pass over the middle from Bourget to Melquan Stovall on a slant. And Drew Pine had another long touchdown, almost to Andre Johnson, but overthrew the ball just a little bit. And again, it's kind of in the face of some intense pressure. Things kind of were mostly underneath. Elijah O'Neal kind of burst out there and got a sack on Jaden Rashada near the end of that period. But overall, the defense continues to be really, I think, a little ahead of the game right now, and it's kind of to be expected early in a camp session. So we'll see if the offense is able to kind of get things evened up a little bit as things progress with shells. And the first full pads practice will be this Saturday morning. So we'll be tracking that stuff as well. But after this third session, I was able to catch up with a couple of offensive newcomers, one a veteran, one a true freshman. So right off the bat, you're going to be hearing from left guard Sione Finau, who's coming over to ASU from Purdue, also played previously at Florida International University, and of course offensive line is going to be really key. So Finau was running with the ones on Tuesday's practice. Max Ihanachor has also been seeing time at that starting left spot, and that's going to be a key spot in the Sun Devil offensive line. You have Isaiah Glass, who's coming back as a starter at left tackle, Lee Fatanu at that center spot. So what happens at that right guard spot is going to be pretty key. Finau brings a lot of physicality and some experience to that group, so we'll see how that position battle continues to go. I think that Finau has in a good position to get a lot of playing time this upcoming season. So here's a good chance to get to know the newest left guard for your Sun Devils, Sione Finau.
Day 3 in the books, first day in Shells. How's camp going so far for you?
So I came from Purdue, Indiana, but Arizona weather is still different. Got to get acclimated to it, but I think as a team, first day in pads, I feel like we look pretty good. Definitely not where we need to be, but I think we'll get there.
Why was Arizona State the right place for you to continue your college career?
Really just I feel like it fit me, especially coming on my visit. The hosts that I have, Leaf and Joey, I feel like they were pretty welcoming, pretty cool guys.
How does it feel to be kind of slide into that left guard spot and with the rest of the guys?
So as a freshman, I originally started my career at left guard, so it just feels like normal to me. But I've played both sides, but stepping into that left guard spot, I'm just ready for it. I think it'll be good.
What are some of the things that kind of jump out about Coach Tuatele and what he brings and how he's going to help develop your game?
I say definitely number one is the intensity. So just being able to turn that switch on the field, the intensity is always high, especially during our Indy. Like I said, the intensity is high, and then in the film room, he's always locked in and really honed in on what we're doing. And then outside of ball, he still makes sure we still have a life and outside of that. But whenever it's time for football, it's time for football.
What are some of the things that you feel are your biggest strengths and what you bring to the Sun Devil offensive line?
I say one of my biggest strengths is really my experience. So I'm a fifth year. I believe have over 1,000 snaps. So just being able to provide my experience with some of the younger guys, because we kind of have a fairly younger group outside of a few of us, but really being able to come in and provide some of the experience that I've learned already to the younger guys, and really giving my piece of advice of whatever I can.
Having a couple stops, Purdue, I believe FIU before that.
Yep.
What that kind of football journey, what are some of the big lessons and takeaways that you think have kind of helped prepare you along the way for this season at ASU?
I'd say probably the biggest lessons is really just believing in yourself and doing what you think is best for yourself and going where you feel you fit best. I feel like I feel good there, but just being able to go somewhere where you feel like you fit best and where you can help the program the best, I feel is what's best for you.
What are some of your fall camp goals? What do you want to get done over the next month before the opener on the 31st?
So fall camp goals, right now I'm playing at about 305, 300. I kind of want to just stay there and maintain right there. And then as far as fall camp, just to continue to get better, continue to learn the scheme as a whole, because if you know everybody else's job, it just makes your job easier and you know what everything's going on around you.
And as mentioned a little bit earlier during that inside run session, the explosiveness of true freshman running back Kyson Brown coming out of Texas was on full display. And with a long touchdown run, kind of darting through the Sun Devil defense, which has been having a pretty good camp. After practice, I got a chance to talk to him about why he chose ASU, his skill set, and what he brings to the Sun Devil offense, and the role he hopes to carve out in 2023.
Third day of fall camp, first in pads, physicality ramped up a little bit.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that kind of jumped out to you about these first 3 days as a Sun Devil in practice?
I really like to say that the pace of the practice is, something I've never seen before. So I'm getting pretty adjusted with that, and yeah, I'm loving it. Nice, and it's always fun during practice. So yeah.
What is it like, just with this Arizona heat? Being a Texas guy, I know it's probably hot, but maybe not as bad with the humidity.
I mean, it's more of a dry heat, but I mean, the difference between Texas and AZ is hot every day. So it's been a little hard adjusting, but I make sure I stay hydrated and make sure I'm doing everything so I can keep my body straight.
What's it like having a roster that has a lot of Texans on it, and especially the coaches as well?
It's a little heartwarming to know that you got people from where you're from, that you share some of the same experiences. So it just made adjusting to being a part of the team easier.
What really kind of jumps out to you about this Bo Baldwin, Kenny Dillingham offense?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same offense as where I came from at Lancaster, but it's fast-paced tempo, and getting us out in space is I love being out in space. Where I can make corners miss or DBs miss, but yeah, I'm loving it.
What are some of the things that you feel that you bring, from skill set wise, that you can add to the Sun Devil offense?
I feel like I bring that versatility as a back. I can also be brutal inside the tackles, but I can also threaten you outside on the outside. So I feel like that could be a great advantage to have. So you can't just game plan for a running back to beat you down the field in between the tackles. You got to play. Make it hard for a DC.
What kind of jumped out to you about the Sun Devil running back room? Obviously you kind of have some power guys, in like Cam or DeCarlos. You got some guys with great speed like yourself. What's it like just having a collection of guys with various skill sets?
I mean, I think that puts us to an advantage. Guys can mix and match in based off situations, and those guys have really been, a good help to me. Just learning the playbook and learning new things about the team. So I just feel like collectively we have probably one of the best rooms in the nation.
What are some things that you want to get accomplished in fall camp to get ready for the opener?
I really want to, get the playbook down pat, establish my role here, and, just grow, really, just grow, and get better every day, keep stacking days, and that's really it.
What jumps out to you about Sean Aguano, a guy who has a pretty good track record of developing very productive college backs?
Man, I love Aguano. Aguano he gonna keep it real, but he gonna also share that off the field relationship with you, make sure you're straight. So I feel like Coach Aguano taking his side was probably my best move as far as being here.
What kind of role do you think you can carve out for this upcoming 2023 season?
I feel like I can play anywhere. I feel like I can play out in the slot, out in the backfield. I feel like I could be a key piece to the offense, and we'll see what happens.